I am closing in on 400 days here in my hardcore world, where the most recent episode saw us construct a hot air balloon in the sky, where I'm able to stand and look over everything that we have built so far. And doing this reminds me just how far we've got to go. Yes, today I want to turn my attention back to the farming district we did in, I think, episode 3. And we have a big open canvas where I want to put 2 brand new farms. Some of the builds that I want to do will require us to have candles, so it's time for a greenhouse. And gathering the wool for the gunpowder farm wasn't that difficult, but I would like to build a fully automatic sheep farm that shears every single color of wool. But before we tackle any of that, I'm gonna risk the world for a biscuit, as I want to get some more shulker shoals, so it means a trip to the end. So if you're as excited as I am for this brand new adventure, let's not waste any more time and let's get into the adventure. No, before I deal with any of that nonsense, I have to deal with this. I thought I'd come here and repair up the Elytra using the raid farm, get myself some emeralds, and someone stole me block of dirt. Has there been an Enderman about here? Are they responsible for this? Mr. Sheepy, did you do that? Did you steal my grass block? It's unacceptable. Oh no, it was Mr. Turtle. It was Mr. Turtle Bombs. Right then. For that, get off of me land. Would you believe it? I found me grass block. So I fired up the raid farm. Then I got to the slaying. In with another 5 totems of undying and 54 emeralds to my name, I could then finally set to the skies and get myself into the end. Once I was in the end, I was to take to the skies, where it wouldn't be long before I found another city. And I soon got to work. Shulker shoals were the main reason I was here, but you can find some really good gear in these end cities, such as a Fortune 3, Efficiency 5, and Unbreaking 3 pickaxe. That's really good. Eventually, I would get a second Elytra. By the time I had reached a stack of shulker shoals, I was just tired of being levitated without my consent. So, I decided to head back home. Once there, I turned some chests into shulkers. Now, the first build that I want to work on in the farming district was a greenhouse that was gonna house my bee farm. But for this, I needed some bees. To achieve this, I would fly to distant shores where I could find a meadow, as it is practically a guaranteed drop from any tree. The only trouble with meadows is they're very scarce in the amount of trees they actually contain, and night is the best time to get them, as the bees come out during the day. That being said, if I did wait around long enough, there's a chance they will go back in, and that happened so that I was able to get a 3rd bee nest and a 4th. With 4 beehives and about 10 bees, I could repopulate the entire population. I only really needed 2, so it was time to head back home, which went swimmingly. Now, when it comes to the location of this, I'm thinking that we're going to come across here. We'll go up this side pathway right here, and then at the end here, we will have the greenhouse, and as we continue on the pathway, right around here, we will have the sheep farm. This is the footprint of the greenhouse, and inside of here we're going to have both a honeycomb and a honey farm. So the first step of building this thing was actually gathering the resources. Now that I've got all of the resources gathered, it was just a case of starting to place the blocks down. So as typical when I'm building, the health inspector turned up, and I'm looking for like cactus. You've got rooted dirt, but apart from that, there's not really anything else here that I want. The wildflowers are kind of cool, but no, you can go now. Bye-bye. So the first layer is in. This is where all of the honeycomb is going to come out of the beehives. It's going to travel along these into this chest right here. We may drop down and have a storage room underneath. I haven't quite decided on that one yet. But it's going to be 2-sided, and I wanted it to be 2-sided for a couple of reasons. But the main reason is just so that I can set one to be for honey, while the other one is for honeycomb. So I've got the pretty much basic mechanics down of the farm. We've got down here, we've got the hoppers. We've got an observer here that is going to observe the beehive. When that beehive is full of honey, this observer will trigger, which will then trigger this observer, which will then trigger this dispenser right here. This dispenser will then shear it. I obviously need to put some shears in there, but I do have a problem. You see, there's supposed to be 8 bee nests within this farm, but the bee nest recipe calls for honeycomb, which means I need honeycomb first. So I'm going to use the beehives that we've got to go ahead and go in here, pop this down. So I'm going to take the beehives that we've got, and it's not going to let me place it with these here, is it? No, these plants are going to be in my way. And then I'm going to place them against the back here. And then what this will do is it'll mean that the bees will start, you know, popping out. Look, you can't get out. Let me close that, make sure you can't get out. This way the bee nests, sorry, it's the beehives I actually want, not the bee nests. I've been saying that the wrong way round. But essentially, these will gather honey, they'll go in there, and it'll start to generate me honeycomb that I can then make use of to make more beehives. So the greenhouse is practically completed. We're going to view it from this side, and there's a reason for that. You can see that we've just got the white stained glass with the copper. The copper is going to age down. It's going to become the green copper, which is what we want. That's just going to take a little bit of time, but I'm always over here, so it shouldn't take too long. And I want to walk you through what I've done with the greenhouse right now, because we've got this nice little archway entranceway in here. We come in, both sides are currently set up for honeycomb. I want to be able to make candles, and I believe we need wax for that. So this is the whole reason why I built this greenhouse farm, so I can get my access to candles. We've got a little bit of honeycomb in here, but I do need to build some more bee nests and remove the beehive here. I think I might be getting this the wrong way around. And then back here, I've got just sort of a place where we can put down 2 tall flowers and grow them, duplicate them with bone meal, or, you know, put anything else down here. I need to go and find the 2 tall flowers that I want to put there. But these are all rose bushes. It's just the texture pack that I've got adds variations of them. And people ask me, like, what texture pack am I using? And if we go into options and resource packs, I use a few, but the main one I use is this stay true here. This is what does most of them. The dynamic skies doesn't actually work, so I don't have Optifine. And I like to use the invisible totem of undying. This just means that when it's in my right hand, you just don't see it. Now that I've got the greenhouse done, we can move on to the automatic sheep farm. This is the next thing that I want to tackle. This is probably going to be the biggest project in this adventure. And the idea behind this is very simple, that it's going to automatically shear every single color of sheep so that we've got access to all the different colors of wool. This does mean that I need to travel a lot to be able to get all the different colors, but I'm just going to stick white sheep in each pen, and then I will dye each sheep after the build is completed. Now, since I have no intention of getting into item elevators with a simple sheep farm, it does mean that a part of this farm is going to be underground, so I've got the big dig to undertake. So I want to throw my hat in and my 2 cents into a discussion that I've seen recently that I have absolutely no business throwing my 2 cents into. But since I use the mod, I wanted to have a brief talk about it and just see what other people think. This isn't a stirring party, this isn't gaslighting, it's just a conversation. And I'm genuinely interested on what people think. So I use the mod Elytra. You can see the outline of the schematic here, and I can even bring the schematic up using buttons so that I can see how the build is going to look in my world before I built it. Now, I personally built this build within a creative testing world. I haven't gone on the internet and downloaded my own schematics. As a content creator, I feel that I have to build my own things, and I can't just use other people's builds, and I like designing things. And for this, Elytra makes building so much easier for me, and it shortens the amount of time that I have to invest into each episode, meaning that I can produce more episodes more quickly. Now, the main reason that I touch on this is because I have a golden rule when it comes to gaming. And my golden rule is that I should play the game the way that I have the most fun. How do I enjoy playing the game the most, and what encourages me to continue playing? For some games, I like to mod the games and add in new features that just aren't in the base game. But for others, like Minecraft, I prefer building within the creative testing world, as it just means that I've got access to Creative Fly, and if I need to change a block, it's super simple. And then I can build it within survival, and Elytra helps me do that. I just wish there was something I could do about the rain. The rain drives me crazy. Now that I dug out the basement, I could start gathering the resources. Every Minecrafter's favorite part of the build. So I set down a bunch of shulker boxes and checked the list of resources I would need. I'd already worked my way through those that I didn't need too much of. Now for the next few resources, I would need to go and chop down some trees, so I thought it was time that we finally get ourselves an enchanted hoe, so that I'm able to harvest leaves without keep using the shears. Since I would need Silk Touch for this, and the first one only got Fortune, I thought I'd go again, but this one was even worse, with just another Fortune. So I stripped the enchant and went one final time. Now thankfully, I had a villager that was willing to trade me Silk Touch, and while it was a bit expensive, I could also get Unbreaking. And then it was just a case of combining all of the books to get the hope that I wanted. Oh, those words were difficult. Since I now needed oak wood, and I knew that later on I was going to need oak leaves, I paired the two together and started gathering them. That harvest alone yielded more than a full shulker box of oak leaves. Unfortunately for me, it wouldn't be long before I was back out spending 2 in-game days chopping down some spruce wood. What am I doing with most of that spruce wood? Well, I need a lot of chests, and then I can take half of those chests and turn them into hoppers. About 2 hours later, I finally had all of the resources that I was going to need to build this farm, with the small exception of the different colored wolves and the sheep that needed to go inside of it. So it seemed fitting that the first part of the build that would take place would be the basement. Now this place was going to be where the vast majority of the storage for our farm was contained. Now you can see from the bottom layer that we're going to have chests for each of the individual colors. So the basement is pretty much all done. There's a few blocks in the roof that I need to put in, but you can see that we've got the minecarts up there. The minecarts are what's going to actually pick it up. It's a minecart hopper. They can pick up through a block, so they're going to pick up the wool. They're going to then deposit it into the hoppers. It's going to come down the entire chain before landing in the bottom one. When the bottom one fills up, we'll head upwards. But I have come to the realization that I have made a small error. You see, this is down 1 too many blocks. It should actually be raised up to this height. So rather than tear the whole thing out, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start bringing the terrain down by 1 block when we come here, just to create some elevation, and then we can take it back up over there. This also brings me to another realization that I need to apologize. I'm going to say this now. In the intro clip, I said that I was going to put 2 ships in the harbor. Unfortunately, that isn't going to be a thing I'm going to be doing in this episode anymore. This week, I have been incredibly unwell, and I've just been recording this series, this episode, in snippets when I felt well enough to get off the sofa and come into my office. But it's Friday, and I've still got that barn to finish. We've got the tree to do. There's still a lot more left to go, and I don't think I'm going to be able to get it all done in time. Now, the next layer is somewhat in place. I've got all of the 16 pods for all of the different sheep. I just need to get them in. It's easier for me to get them in right now as I've got the top open and I can just kind of push them in. And why is it, whenever you've got a fly that gets into your office, the only place that it ever wants to land is either on the finger you're clicking with or your face? Oh, would you look at that? The rain god has blessed the world again. You're not getting a tree rain god. Every other god of this world is going to. Make-believe god, we're going to create our own gods and no real world gods. Just getting that out there, I'm not getting into real-world religions in my Minecraft world. We'll keep it strictly in the lore. Now, I want to talk about what I've decided, because originally this sheep farm was going to be set up in a way that I would be able to get every single color of wool. But now if we throw our heads back all the way to Minecraft Survival Season 2 that I did, I built a sheep farm here. And while I've been gathering the sheep, I realized that there was just a lot of the colors that just had a very unique use that I would only need a handful of times. So what I'm going to do here in the hardcore world is I'm going to adapt this farm so that I have access to each of the 16 sheep. That way I can dye the sheep whichever color of wool I'm in need of at that particular time. It makes more sense than having them generate wool that I'm probably not going to use the vast majority of. Now when it comes to getting the sheep in, I've had to adapt the farm very slightly, taking out these hoppers because they just can't fit through a 1x1 gap, which I didn't know. And I'm terrified because I haven't fallen in this gap once yet, which means I'm overdue. And with that, the last sheepy is in his pen. And now that I've finally got each of the sheep in their farms, it's time to finish off building the downstairs. In less time than it took to get the sheep in here, I've managed to finish off the lower floor. Now there is this sort of hopper chain going all the way around here. I like the idea that there's a chest up there that I put the shears into, and then the shears go through and end up in the hoppers. I'm always worried that the droppers are going to run out, or either the dispensers are going to run out of the shears, so I like to have a way to quickly restock everything. That does mean that we've got an open upstairs with just 2 hoppers on them. And now, I need to fall down. Right, I've missed a part of the floor there. That needs to be fixed. We can't be having holes here now. That's not going to pass the health and safety. What happens if the Wandering Trader comes by, the inspector? He's going to have me by the gahoonies for this. Right, this floor needs to be done now. No, just no. I built you guys a castle. Go and have a fun in it. Yeah, go and have a party. Dance in the ballroom. Do something else. It ain't time to be messing with me. I had enough of you firing your crossbows into my body when I was building you that castle. You ain't getting in my sheep farm. No, no, be gone with you. Yeah, I think they know. Don't mess with me. Simply because I don't like you very much, I'm taking the time out of my illfully painful day to deal with the lot of you. No, this is not a pillager beach. You're not welcome. Be gone. And would you look at that? We've got the entire thing done. We've already seen the downstairs, but the upstairs I think looks really good. We've got a lot of open space I'm not entirely certain of what I want to do with yet. But we've got a couple of windows. We can come and look at the sheep farm on this one. And now, as I was saying before I rudely interrupted myself by forgetting to place a block, there's also this big one out here where we can see the balloon, and we can also see the city. Now, I have to be careful because the balloon isn't in render. Normally, I have like my render distance all the way up to 32. There we go, it's in render now. But for some reason, my computer is just crashing quite a lot when I play Minecraft. So, I've been just lowering the render distance a little bit, and I don't know if that's helping or if it's just the fact that I'm not leaving this area that's helping. It's one or the other, I think. And from the outside, the sheep farm is quite a large, big structure, but it needs to house 16 sheep. I like this face a lot better than the other face, but I didn't want to make the two faces identical. And I think that looks really nice. Like, as you sort of coming through here, you get the peak of that big house on the left right there, or rather on the right. And then boom, it opens up. Now the only issue with the sheep farm is it's not actually running yet because there's no shears in all of the dispensers. So I'm going to fix that. You know what's really annoying? It ain't filling up this chest with shears or crafting them. It's the fact that there is a fly in my office. I've already mentioned this, but every now and again I hear the buzzing of the bee farm and I think that the fly is actually a bee. I accidentally put a couple of fireworks in the hopper chain. I think one of these sheep is going to get a very nasty surprise. Yeah, and it took a little bit of time and half a shulker box of iron, but finally both these chests are fully stocked with shears and every single hopper is too. And with that, I should never have to tend to this farm again. Now my next job is to tear out all of the sand here and get some pathways leading up to both of the new farms. Now since these were both down a block from each other, I wanted to make sure that I connected the bee farm first. Once I had a rough pathway in, it was a case of filling in these blank spaces with grass, which I had in large quantities thanks to the raid farm. Now already this little addition was adding more life to the area, but I still had a long way to go. As I first carved out a pathway and then started filling it in with the coarse dirt, and once again as I was filling the pathway in, it decided to rain, but there was only the grass left to put down. Now adding in these coarse dirt pathways and the grass changes the whole feel of this place. We've no longer got sand everywhere we look, except for over there. Don't look over there. We've got sand over there. But now it's starting to feel more like the farming district. And as we take to the skies, this place feels so much better than it did when I started. But there's still one thing that I want to do. And a chat that I want to have. So as the moon rises and the sun sets, I've been thinking about the harbour and I kind of want to extend it all the way around here and all the way around there. It's a much bigger job than I was originally going to do. I just feel like it fits more better if we were to have it go all the way around. So I'm definitely going to push that to the next episode. But there is still one thing I need to do today. Now in every episode of my hardcore world, I build a custom tree. And this is the part of the video, and now the only part of the video, where I ask if you would kindly leave the video a like, hit subscribe, maybe even consider becoming a channel member. As with each interaction that the channel gets, I become one step closer to my inevitable goal of turning this hobby into a full-time job. As with each interaction that the video gets, it promotes YouTube to push it out to more and more people. And that brings me one step closer to my goal of turning my hobby into a full-time job. As I put a full-time schedule behind each and every video, and I've even been doing this video while I've been feeling unwell. So please do consider liking and subscribing and supporting the channel moving forward. Now I design all of my own trees and I import them using Elytra so that I have the schematic to work with. All of this so that I can learn the skills necessary to build gigantic trees in honor of the various gods of our Minecraft world. Now your subscription really does make the world of difference. As with each new subscriber that I gain, I add blocks to the World Tree chest at the end of every month. We are now up to 2 stacks of oak, and this tree has got to be my largest yet. So please do like and subscribe, and let's get back into the episode. I do like how we have all of these trees just sort of towering above all the buildings. It really does bring the world to life. And the more I look at the trees that I'm building now, like this tree and this tree is of the nude variety. And this one was with my old technique, and while I don't like that one, I'll admit. Not a big fan of that one. But this one reminds me of like a grand acacia tree. Same with this one. Whereas this one feels more like an oak tree. There's definitely some room for improvement. But with this one, I tried something I hadn't tried before. There's a mixture of leaves in there. There's spruce, there's oak, and I think that it turned out really nice. I tried to keep most of the branches near the top, as opposed to having them down the bottom. We've got kind of an off-cut branch there and an off-cut branch there too, and I think that really helps it out. And with that done, I can finally say that I have given you the best of me.
Want the best of me now, best of me now, best of me now, best of me. They want the best of me now, best of me now, best of me now, best of me. They want the best of me now, best of me now, best of me now.
So I want to take the time at the end of this episode to say just 2 things. The first one is I do apologize that I wasn't able to get everything done in this episode that I originally set out to do. As I said, I've been battling an illness this week, and I've been trying to still get this video out on time, as I am having the most fun I have ever had in Minecraft in this hardcore world. I am truly loving every moment of it, and I just wanted to play, so I'd go and rest, and then when I was feeling a little bit better, I would come back into my office and I would play. Granted, I could have probably taken a day, fully rested up, and then been geared to go, but I was just having so much fun. I just wanted to play. It's been a long time since Minecraft has had me hooked in that kind of way. Usually this is a game that I enjoy playing and I play for the channel, but I don't normally play it away from the channel. But now I've got the creative testing world, we're building things in that too, and I'm having so much fun that I just had to keep on going. And I really do want to do that big harbor. And the second one is thank you so much for watching, guys. You're the awesome folk. I'm Casey, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!